woo.
Hello and welcome to my channel. Vice Rhino here. Cirrus over there.
Maybe.
Maybe. Hats up. God damn it. You guys always wait until the moment the countdown ends. Need a fascinator.
Well,
tonight.
yeah, they have to wait until you're most likely to do it. If they do it before the countdown ends, they won't even see you do it. You might do it and then pop up and say, "Yeah, I did a whole thing. I put on a hat.
While I was off
I did a little dance."
Yeah, no, I do not do a little dance. Yeah, no, it's Artemis says, yeah, we want to inconvenience you. I know, that's what it's about. But the thing is, like, I always start the streams just forgetting that that's what always happens every single time. So they're like, every week it's a surprise, even though y'all do it every week. It's how we keep our parasocial relationship fresh.
You just have to make sure that the audience never knows how much you actually like them. If they did, it would ruin everything, all of the immersion.
Would it though? Do I like the audience? I don't know.
Yeah, you're not supposed to let them know. Never let them know how much you need them.
Here's the thing. We were talking before going live about how I am socially inept. So like, I like the idea of my audience. Were I to meet them in person, we would probably not get along, not because there's anything wrong with them, because there's something wrong with me.
Yeah, see, I already know I don't get along with my audience because I'm very antagonistic to them while live. And then I invite them into my guild in World of Warcraft, and then I'm antagonistic to them while we're running content together because I actively hang out with my audience in game with them.
Oh, I finally got around to taking my kids to play Magic the Gathering at the card shop in town.
How'd that go?
Yeah, I walloped them.
Well, of course, you have game knowledge compared to them. Not much, but you have it.
Yeah, no, but there were a few things. So, like, there were a few moments where, like, you know, sometimes I would give them hints before they did stuff, or like I'd do stuff like what you were doing with me, where like I'd look at their cards and I'd tell them what they could play and what would be a good idea, what would be a bad idea. There were a couple times where it's like, oh, you want to attack that one right now, not me. I'm like, that feels like I'm just doing it to win, but it really is the better thing for them to do.
Yeah, because you're just like, look, I know you want to beat up on Dad, but if you don't kill me, that other one has a scoot swarm right now, and I don't.
Actually, so my youngest, I got him a deck for his birthday that I specifically got one with Scoot Swarm in it, because when I told him about Scoot Swarm, he got so excited about the idea of it. And then in this one, he got one of those things that was like, look at your top 5 cards, and if any of them have a mana value of this or less, you can play that one. And it was, or you can play it for free. And Scoot Swarm was in the 5, but it was too expensive, so he had to put it at the bottom of his deck. He was so mad.
See, just so close to the excitement. Now the dream is still a game away.
Yeah. But then there were also other times where it was like, I see what he's doing, and I'm just going to let him do it, because that is such a terrible thing. Like, I had something with Death Touch, and he just attacked me with like his strongest card, but like his strongest card had like an effect that happens at the like end of everybody's turn, and it was going to be something that was really, really annoying. But then he's like, I attack you with this. I'm like, okay, I block it with my 1/1 flying thing with Death Touch. Now it's dead.
Yup. That sounds like either Baleful Strix or Hornet Queen.
Yes, Hornet Queen.
Yeah, I have for the Magic channel that I've been doing for the past year, I've been trying to put Hornet Queen in more decks only because there has never been a game that I've played where I've played a Hornet Queen and been upset at the result of having an army of just touch me and die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's never been a point in time where it's made me sad.
And then it was my Amara deck. So like I had a whole lot of like copy things that you already have things.
Yeah.
So I never ran out of things with Death Touch.
You just kept making more of them going, here's my army.
That was actually the reason I gave for my other kid to attack the other kid instead of me, because it's like, if you attack me, I'm just going to block you with my Death Touch guy, and then your thing that you're attacking with, the one card you have on the board, is just going to be dead. You saw it happen to him, so now just don't attack me.
Yeah, hitting me does not advance you. Hitting me hurts you. Hitting this other person at least gets rid of some stuff.
So I did get board wiped, and it was mildly annoying, but it gave them a taste of the power.
That is the so not to harp on a game that I obviously adore, but one of the neat things about Magic, in my opinion, is that there is never going to be a point in time, unless you've built your deck wrong, there's never going to be a point in time where you go, there is nothing I can do, I might as well give up, unless an actual win condition has been reached. You probably have something you can do with something in your deck if you either are lucky enough to draw it or know where to use it. And that guy has an army of Death Touchers. I can't get in here. Oh, this card says destroy everything. Never mind. I'm significantly less upset now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at one point I had one that the ability was like duplicate, like create a token copy of everything you have on the board.
Sounds like Second Harvest.
I don't remember what it was. But yeah, once I got that one, it was like, okay, I assume that all the duplicates have summoning sickness.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's the way I play it. I'm like, okay, I duplicate everything, but since everything's duplicated, I'm just going to attack you with all the non-duplicated ones. So you're dead, and next turn you're dead.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
I am as of right now, the decks that I am gravitating towards the most are ones where the commander basically gives absolutely nothing away about what the deck's game plan is. It's just this generic thing that looks like 12 other generic things in my deck. And at first I thought I would be able to play it as a thing to like go under the radar in games. And the experience I had with that was going to my card shop, playing a commander that only says I tap for mana, and that's it. And everybody at the table looking at me and going, so that doesn't look threatening, but I don't trust you.
Sounds about right, yeah.
So just like, yeah, okay, fair enough. This thing is in fact way stronger than it looks, but it's just a little guy.
I mean, my Amara is just tap and you get a token of a lifelink soldier.
Yeah, and then it by 5 turns of letting it be unchecked, it's made like 12.
No, I never quite got that high, because like one one of the effects that one of my kids had was that I think it was his commander. When the commander enters the board, all the other players have to attack each other if they can.
Oh, Carter Doom Surge. Yeah, he forces everybody to get violent with each other.
Yeah, I don't know the names of the cards. I just know that was a thing that happened, and so I lost a lot of things to just attacking things that were much stronger than them, because like all of my things are just like little 1/1 token creatures. But Anyway, we are driving away the non-Magic the Gathering portion of our audience, which admittedly is a small portion of the audience, but it is a portion nonetheless.
Welcome to the nerd side of the internet.
Yeah.
Everybody here at least understands at a deep personal level what cardboard crack is.
Yeah, I mean, up until I met you in person and you gave me a deck, I would have been on their side. Let's not talk about Magic anymore. I don't get it. But
yeah, but the exact words you gave me were, and I quote, "You haven't been trying hard enough to get me into Magic." So I said, "Okay, fair enough."
And then our frickin' friend had a birthday that we both went to.
Yep, and that frickin' friend also happened to play Magic the Gathering for years.
Progress only says, I remember when VR didn't like Magic the Gathering. It's not that I didn't like it, it's that I didn't get it.
You didn't have any concept of it.
Yeah. I still, to this, like, even now, talking about it, Circe keeps naming cards, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, I can barely remember that my commander's name was Amara. And that might not even be right.
Yeah. It's a thing that exposure helps with, honestly. Like, that's the biggest thing with anything that's as dense as a game like
because
Magic.
I don't read the names when I play the cards. I read the descriptions.
I play the card that does this.
Yeah, exactly. Fennec says, if I ever meet y'all in person, do y'all accept hugs? Yes, I do accept hugs.
Yeah, hugs are fine.
I like hugs.
It's like that, so, fun fact,
I have a children's book called Huggy the Python Hugs Too Hard.
So there's a, in the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise...
I'm kind of annoyed that you don't find the title of that book as hilarious as I found it. How dare you just walk past that and go back to Sonic? Huggy the Python Hugs Too Hard. It's a children's book about a snake that smothers things to death.
Yeah, he's just killing you. That's fine.
Like, my partner specifically got that book for one of her specific children when she got a dog. Because this is a child who does not understand, like, the differences between, like, a tight hug and, oh, that hurts hug.
Mm-hmm. So you're just... Here's this book that describes this thing that you are doing that is painful.
Secular Scholar says, still waiting for the Cirrus and Rhino French kiss. That's never going to happen. There's only one person that I will ever kiss. However, I will deep throat him.
Don't put your tongue in the back of my throat.
Don't stick your
wiener.
Don't stick your tongue in my mouth, but your dick? Yeah, sure, I'll take that.
Wiener.
And my own Stankfoot just subscribed for the 7th month, so thank you for that. With consent. Yes, with consent. I mean, how do you think Circe got pregnant with all the rhino babies?
I don't know if consent was part of my conundrum there, but I just woke up one day and it was there.
Myself and Stoff gave consent.
Okay. That's this is feeling very you know the meme,
the meme
that's
with
like,
is there someone you forgot to ask?
There's someone you forgot to ask. I give consent. I give consent. Oh, really?
Stoff wants to know how much donos for the deep throat. That's on Cirrus, because I'm cheap.
Jesus Christ. What I was gonna say is your experience with Magic the Gathering is identical to Sonic fans' experience with Mephiles. There's only one character in the Sonic series that has managed to, like, actively kill Sonic, and the attack he did it with was literally just a beam that went through Sonic's heart and killed him, and they had to do timeline shenanigans to get it back. But if you go onto the wiki and look at the name of the attack, for some fucking reason, the attack is called the attack that killed Sonic.
I mean, that is an accurate description.
So when Shadow Generations came out, which was the one I was playing while we were over at GE's house, when Shadow Generations came out, they brought that villain that killed Sonic back for a brief bit and had him try to use that attack on Shadow to show Shadow dodging it. And so I'm just sitting there going, man, it feels weird to just say Shadow dodged the attack that killed Sonic. Oh, what's it called? The attack that killed Sonic. No, seriously, what's the attack called? It's Man, this is some who's on first bullshit. It's just called the attack that killed Sonic.
Pepper21
promise
subscribed, and that got us a hype train. Thank you for that, Pepper21.
Ivana, thank you for resubscribing over on my end as well. Also, Briar, thank you for redeeming your points for an ada, you fucking degen.
Yeah, but Cirrus, I think we're missing the point here, is that you never put a number on how much it would take to deep throat you for the stream.
Because no number I name will stop the artists from doing it behind my back, which I probably should have phrased that a little differently given the circumstances.
Oh, Peppert gave out 5 community sub gifts, so thank you for that, Peppert. Appreciate it. Keeping the hype train going.
Pepper T21?
Yeah.
Excellent. Pepper's awesome.
So it's Pepper T. It's not Peppert. Okay. That makes sense. Pepper T21. So thank you for gifting out all the what's it called? Community subs.
Also, Pepper, you should leave Zan's guild and come to mine. Anyway, that's just me trying to poach people for WoW. That's all.
That's just politics, is what that is.
Quite literally.
Yeah. Okay. I guess we should get to the news. It sucks today.
Hey.
So yeah. In It's Not a Drag Queen Again news, conservative writer who accused drag queens of grooming children is arrested on child molestation charges.
Why does this happen every time? I'm sorry. This is like every single time there's a priest that gets up on the pedestal and talks about the dangers of what trans people are doing to kids, and we find it like 2 weeks later, this person is been exploiting kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not going to read the article in detail, but like, so this is from February 6th, so this one's a little bit old. But then there's also the Thank You Jesus sign founder, Lucas Hunt, sexually exploited minors, police say. That one's from February 27th, so that one's also like a week old, but within a month, 2 prominent figures in Christian media. Also, have you ever seen the Thank You Jesus sign? Do you know what sign they're talking about?
I don't know what sign they're talking about at all.
They're talking about the sign that makes me want to join the bad guys again, because this thing has sold tens of thousands of signs, and this is the sign. Like,
thank you, Jesus.
Like, I have an 8-year-old who could do a better sign than that.
I think so is it just as a thought, is the sign supposed to look like it's drawn by a child who is happy that they weren't aborted?
So he was 15 when he designed this.
Okay. So
he was a child. And now, to be fair, as someone with 0 artistic ability, when I was 15, I absolutely would have, like, if I tried to design something like that, this might be something that I came up with. But I wouldn't then look at that and think, hey, people are going to want to pay money for this.
I mean, fair. I guess the only reason that my brain is stuck on that is on the way back here from Tennessee. There was a giant sign on the road that just showed a newborn baby, and it said, "My mommy chose life."
Oh, I hate those signs. Sean Helfin says, make it a rainbow color and then see how many signs you sell. That's actually not a bad idea. And
I thank Jesus for the rainbow.
Yeah.
Because the rainbow gave us the gays.
So I'd expect more consistency from a teen. Yeah, no, so would I. But I absolutely hated art class, so I would have, like, this is absolutely something I would have come up with when I was that age. But, like, he's 25 now.
Also, Pepper, thank you very much for the 5 community sub gifts on my end, too. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so he's 25, the guy who designed this now. And if you go to the website to buy it, they've still got the picture of him as a 15-year-old. And they've still got, like, the story as though this is an inspiring story from a kid who designed a sign. So I think part of how many they're selling is people will see it and be like, oh, I will support this young man.
But the dude's Like,
But he's 25.
he's just capitalizing on that now.
But he's
as he's
25,
approaching
and
30.
The charges that he's being brought up on are he willfully accepted a video of child porn.
Why would you even want that in the first fucking place?
Well,
I mean, obviously,
you wouldn't unless you're the kind of person who complains about groomers.
so projection.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's projection. I'm so angry at these groomers, he says into the mirror at himself.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Clueless Expert, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Jesus fucking Christ. I was not aware that the
Thank you,
recent trip...
Jesus!
God damn it! I wasn't aware that the recent trip I took was going to be subsidized by stream today.
Yeah, well, there
I'll
you go.
take it. I'll take it. At this point, that definitely covers gas.
Yeah, you'll take it.
Hey, remember when I said that you guys would do it behind my back anyways? Yeah, that's why I said my phrasing might have been a bit wrong when I said that, and we are now at that stage. I made chicken katsu this morning.
Nice.
I don't know. I'm just trying to divert anything away from Cirrus gets pegged conversation.
I mean, is it pegging if it's not a strap-on?
I mean, God, the stages between pegging, anal, and panal.
Jassa says yes. So anal sex is technically pegging.
Technically, it is.
Is that a tutu on your head? No, it's a fascinator. Somebody redeemed a hat.
Not very.
Oh, it was you that redeemed the hat, and you're asking it.
You say a fascinator. I say it's not very fascinating.
Yeah,
at all.
that's the joke that I make anytime anybody puts on a fascinator.
Yeah, I'm happy that all of us share one brain cell when it comes to the style of humor we have. That's how I literally got. What is the best way to explain my recruitment onto the permanent status in this show? Fell into it.
Well, I asked a bunch of people if they wanted to be like a rotating crew.
Mm-hmm.
And you were just the one who most consistently could do the show. And then it was just like, okay, well, since you're the most consistent one, you want to just be permanent?
Fair. And I think that literally just came down to I stream on Wednesdays anyway.
Yeah.
My job already conveniently lined up with me being here, so I guess I'm here.
Yeah. Fennec says, so we are all as a group orange cats. That's a good description.
Yeah, we all have a single brain cell, and that brain cell chooses violence, and also the wall.
A little bit of chaos, yeah.
Orange, I have learned over the years that all of the stigma that we have given to black cats is 100% supposed to be aimed at the orange ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have run a good PR campaign, though.
They really have.
My dog, we had painters come in today, and my dog, Puddles, she's such a friendly dog, and she loves attention. She loves meeting new people. She loves it when people pay attention to her and give her scritches and pet her and stuff. She just did not like the painter. She was growling at him and barking at him, and it's just like, what has gotten into you? And she does this occasionally. It's just like there have been like 4 or 5 people that those people specifically she does not like.
That's weird. I'm not the worst thing in the world, but it's still weird that there's zero reason except this is a different person. This is a person not inside my zone of people I enjoy.
Yeah, except she enjoys all the other people that are outside of that zone.
Except the painter.
Like we have a hardware store in town that is dog friendly. She loves going there because anytime she's there, everybody is just like, "Oh, look at the dog," and she loves having people pay attention to her and everything. Like everywhere we go in that store, somebody is giving her scritches. She loves it. Meeting new people, it's great. And Miss Kitty doesn't care, says chemicals. No, I wouldn't think so because there were 2 painters and one of them she was fine with.
Yeah, somebody in my chat said, can the cats, or Lady Badash says, maybe the dog can sense bigots?
I don't think so.
Would be weird if so. Would be
I
weird
don't know
if
the guy
so.
well enough to say. I was going to be like, yeah, but the other guy that was with him was Hispanic, so maybe not. But then like, hiring someone who's Hispanic to do manual labor type work is not necessarily the sign that you're not a bigot.
Yeah. That's like immediately gravitating towards an Asian to help with your math homework.
Hmm. I mean, I'm not saying that is how that happened, but whatever. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So, oh yeah, and this guy, the conservative writer, he's not just a writer. He's like, what? Okay, he's a writer, but like he's written for outlets like the Daily Wire. So like this is not a nothing person.
That's a good enough reason to say they're a conservative writer, though, if they're writing for Daily Wire.
Yeah, yeah. But what I'm getting at is it's not just some conservative with a blog. It's
Okay.
like actually a writer.
Yeah, somebody who's been paid to do their stuff.
Yeah.
And not in random advertising dollars from the side of a website that's been seen by 3 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So conservative writer who accused drag queens of grooming is
And
arrested on child molestation. Is that the reason we're not going into any of these in particular, because all of these are just the same story?
Yeah, it's the same story. I didn't feel like dwelling on it. I just wanted to go into how it's not a drag queen again. And the person who sent it to me, I forget who it was. I want to say it was my anonymous source. But the person who sent it to me, they actually like tried to find they tried to find a story of like, okay, when was the last news story of when someone who is a drag queen did be brought up on charges like this? They couldn't find anything.
But
like,
they found a bunch of this.
Like when they were searching for that, what they found was more stories of person who talks about how drag queens are molesting children brought up on child molestation charges. Like that was it. So like, yeah, no, it's never the drag queen. Like not never. There was one like in 2004 or some shit. But effectively never.
It's one of those things where you can find instances where somebody who is trans or somebody who is a drag queen has done this. There's a more than a there's a non-zero amount of them. But in terms of proportion, it is more often the ones who are yelling and shrieking about it that are the ones that are guilty.
Well, it's like Fennec is saying, I'd rather leave my child with a bunch of drag queens than a bunch of priests. Absolutely.
100%. I remember somebody, I forget who it was. I know who it was. It was Mr. Brass. I remember. Because he had said
it was Scott Dillahunt that sent it.
But there was a person named Mr. Brass, and I remember them having the argument that if you're going to have any issue with kids being around priests, then keep your kids out of the schooling system, because the same numbers apparently hold true in the public schooling system. And I'm like, man, there's a difference here, though. The difference is public education is necessary.
Well,
being alone with the priest isn't.
Yeah. Also, all else being equal, the public schools, when they find out that someone is a sex pest, they take action and fire that person and press charges and report them and shit. When the church finds out that one of their priests is a sex pest, they
send them to Chile.
They send them to a different diocese. They get the victims to sign NDAs. They put social pressure on the community to ignore it. So the response matters.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is that you are ignoring all of the surrounding context to make that argument.
Yeah. Also, like, if you actually believe in that, like, if you believe in God and that he's all powerful and everything, why does God not have a vetting process for the people that work for the church? Like, I'm not going to say, like, sure, whatever, same reason God allows evil in general is the same reason he allows people in the church to not be perfect people. I'm not saying they need to be perfect, but like, the all-knowing guy can look at someone who's applying for a job as a priest and be like, hey, I know that in the future he's going to molest kids if you hire him, so I'm going to intervene in some way to make him not get hired. Like, that's all God has to do. And then, like, you would never find sexual molesters in his holy organization. And then his holy organization would look a whole lot more holy.
But that's never a thing that's going to actually happen because
because
there's
he doesn't
not
exist.
I'm confident in saying there is not a God there doing that. Now, the reality of the situation is technically I don't know, but I don't know with a lot of confidence on this one.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're digging up old news again today. I don't know why, but this is from February 8th. Neo-Nazis chased out of Greater Cincinnati. Local residents set swastika flag ablaze. Good for them.
I mean, it is old news in that it's a month ago, but like, could we make it not old news by repeating it a few times, actually? Like, if you see a Confederate flag or a swastika flag, maybe just burn it. Maybe just that's the correct thing to do.
Yeah. I agree. But, a group of neo-Nazis was seen on Friday hanging a banner and flags off the overpass between Evendale and Lincoln Heights. With Lincoln Heights being a historically black community, their demonstration drew counter-protests. Lincoln Heights residents yelled for them to leave and set fire to one of their flags. They took a stand against white supremacists. While the neo-Nazis were there to spread hate, Jamal Howard said that he had his own message. They jumped into a U-Haul and we pulled up on the bridge and grabbed a flag. As the people here, we burned the flag right over there, said Howard. So they chased them off and burned their flag. And that is the appropriate response when you see Nazis.
Unfortunately, according to a recent briefing, Trump has said that he brought free speech back to America, whatever the fuck that means.
You're talking about the State of the Union where he said he brought free speech back to America immediately after he kicked out a 70-some-odd-year-old senator for protesting things he was saying?
Yep. The same one where he said that bureaucrats, or unelected bureaucrats, are no longer in control of the government.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
with Elon...
With Elon standing right behind him. At least Elon was wearing a suit that time.
No, he just needs to wear a regular polo shirt and
but he was
the
wearing
black MAGA hat that he wears all the time now.
No, he was wearing a suit to the State of the Union. And I'm wondering if he noticed that like people were making a big deal about that guy that was asking Zelensky about his suit. And then the rest of us are over here like, but Elon was in the Oval Office giving interviews in a t-shirt and a weird black jacket. Like,
he's just sitting there going, I'm very, very self-conscious now.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe not.
Look, I don't trust any action that Elon takes on principle.
Elon doesn't take actions on principle. I know that's not what you said. I know.
But you know what though? Honestly, good catch.
Like I've been signing petitions left and right and contacting our members of parliament about ending any contracts that our government has with Starlink, because being the fastest satellite internet available means that he's got a lot of contracts everywhere, and it's just like, you know what, he has shown himself to be untrustworthy to be in charge of countries' internets, so let's not trust him with that, please.
Yeah, it's so the modus operandi for basically every techno-fascist right now is to take every service that should be a government service, take every service that should be just a default thing, and privatize it early, or take it away from the government and then make it a thing that they are, quote, doing better and more efficiently than the government could. So I think we can all agree that despite it being considered a utility, it should be treated more as a necessity. The internet's not a luxury in the current day and age.
Did you mean like the opposite of privatizing it? Or did I zone out at the beginning of your sentence?
I think you might have zoned out. My issue is that things like the internet right now in the current day and age are necessities. They are not things that one can go without.
As such, it should not be privatized.
As such, it should not be privatized.
Okay.
The goal of techno-fascists is to take every industry that is a necessity and privatize them as fast as possible. Granted, the internet's in a weird place where it's basically been that way from the get-go, but it's going to continue to be that way if you can get somebody to pop in with a bunch of proprietary shit that they can hide behind a billion legal defenses for, which Elon can do.
Yeah, I feel like the something sees the means of production should apply here.
So I agree with you that the proletariat should seize the means of production, but the question is always going to be how, because it's a very fun chant, and as a socialist, I agree with the statement, but the method as to how we do it is what's always going to determine whether or not it's even viable as an option. And step one is almost always unionizing. Step one can be unionizing or protesting. It can be one or the other. The point of a protest is not to get something done. The point of a protest is to give people a shared identity. And that's what a union does as well, but it gives them a consistent shared identity as opposed to a moment of pain now that hopefully they keep going forward as motivation. Prince of Atheism says how we literally eat the rich. While I do think that is a modest proposal, again, the how comes to mind. How do you plan on doing that? In an ideal world, we get enough unions to basically seize all of the power from these privatizers and these assholes so that, yes, these are technically private industries, but they are owned by the people. So it's fine. It's a very syndicalist approach to that. Unfortunately, we don't have good infrastructure for that right now. And we need to be building it.
Isn't there a petition to revoke Elon Musk's Canadian citizenship? Yeah, we covered that, I think, last week. I've signed that one as well.
Yeah, it's definitely one that I agree with, as well as this person is quite literally violating basically every single thing that is considered a partnership agreement between the US and Canada.
Oh, did you see the speech that Trudeau gave where he basically called Donald Trump dumb?
I saw snippets of it. I didn't see the whole speech. The part of the speech that I saw was when he said, in my years of working with Donald Trump, I have learned that you can't trust what he says, but you also have to take what he says seriously.
Yeah,
which
I didn't see that part, but there was a part of it where he was basically like, hey, you know, I don't usually agree with the Washington Post, but like they were correct in this article where they said you are a smart person, but this is a really dumb thing to do. And I like the way he hedged it. Like, he didn't say, like, oh, I think you're a smart guy, but this is really dumb. He was like, the Washington Post said that you're a smart guy, but this is really dumb. So it was like a really roundabout way. It was a very Canadian insult. Like, you can't really find the insult, but it's there.
Yeah. You're putting it on somebody else, but you 100% mean it for you.
So Sean says, yeah, I also heard that Trudeau is placing out drones at the border. This is a bit scary in a good way. Yeah, so I am... We've come to a point in our household where we are disaster planning at the moment. Like, we are putting things in place so that if everything goes to shit and our little border town becomes a fucking war zone, that we're ready for that. Like, I don't think that's going to happen, and I really, really hope that does not happen. But I'm at a point now where it's like, I can't say that it's off the table. I can't make a good argument as to why I don't think that will actually happen. Like, I don't think it'll actually happen. I don't think it'll come to that. But I can't think of a good argument for why it's completely impossible that that would happen.
Yeah, it's it's better to be prepared and never have to have the preparations than to be caught unawares.
Yeah.
As just a
Oh,
general rule
Artemis
for
says,
anything.
I'm in the military and we were preparing for the worst. Okay, so this is a question that my partner and I both have that neither of us know the answer to. But, like, when you say you're preparing for the worst, does that mean, like, you guys are preparing contingency plans to stop Trump from doing the harm that he's trying to do? Or, what does that mean? These, like, both of us are kind of like, hey, we knew who he was from the first term in the presidency. We knew that if he got back again, he was going to do exactly what he has been doing. He has not been subtle about him wanting to do this. So, like, how have these powerful people in charge of the military, the CIA, the other intelligence agencies, law enforcement, the government, like, how have all these people not had some contingency plan to, like, undermine his undermining of the government?
Yeah, it's I was Adam Conover went into it a little bit when he said it's really agitating to hear Democrats say things like, we don't even know what options we have at this point,
Yeah, but
when
you
they've
knew what
had
you...
all the
Yeah.
time to prepare.
Yeah, it's very disheartening. Like, I still believe that if there are elections, if there are midterm elections, vote for the Democrat in your area. Like, that's still what I want to say. But, like, at this point, I'm like, okay, well, if the Democrats win, they're not going to do shit with that.
That's why I think the right thing to do right now, while yes, vote for the Democrat in your area, 100%, that is the thing you should be doing to engage in harm reduction. But what you should be doing as well is steering the Democrat in your area. And you do that by getting onto apps like Mobilize, by getting into groups on Facebook with your local party, going to a DSA chapter and seeing which person that they are backing. But basically, you need to be getting involved, not in voting. Voting's not fucking enough. You need to be actively involved in your political party. And I've been providing at the end of every video a step by step on, like, these are all of the ways that you can do that. Because right now, you need to be having a say in what that politician is doing, because
because wearing pink to the State of the Union address doesn't actually send a message.
No, it doesn't do anything. It's, again, it's protesting. It is protesting, and protesting doesn't do protesting doesn't accomplish anything. That is not saying do not go protest. Yes, go protest, but recognize protesting is a first step. The goal of a protest is to give a set of people who would otherwise feel isolated a feeling of shared identity. Now that you have done the protest and you have met friends and coworkers and family that are all on the same page about what needs to happen, now you need to start actually going and doing things with those people, canvassing with those people, lobbying with those people, going to Congress with those people. You need to actively be doing stuff with that group. Protesting is one of the two sides of a first step to organizing. It is not the end goal.
Yeah.
And I will harp on that until people get absolutely annoyed with me.
Yeah. So back into the news about the neo-Nazis.
Yeah.
The ones that aren't currently in charge of the government, although those ones are neo-Nazis as well. So they went to talk to the county sheriff's office at Evendale Police for not breaking up the neo-Nazis protest sooner, and Evendale Police said that although it was an ugly display, it wasn't unlawful and no arrests were made. Like, and on the one hand, yeah, I agree, but on the other hand, some things should just not be allowed.
Yeah,
I feel like Nazi, like, overtly Nazi events should be off the table. That's just automatically a hate crime.
It should be, but at the same time, we know that they're not going to censor that
Yeah.
because JD Vance specifically went to Germany to
And
say you
spoke
need
to the
to
AfD.
well, not just that, his actual speech where he said that you all over here need to rethink your speech laws.
Yeah. And oh yeah, the group that is taking credit for the display is called the Hate Club.
Hello.
Like, they know what they are. They're not trying to hide it.
And sitting there going, oh, I guess it's a. So, whenever you're arguing with people who want to support that, like support their right to do that, just ask them, what is the result these people are looking for? What is the result that they are wanting? And ask yourself, do you want that result? If you do not want that result, would it not behoove you to actively fight against these people in some way, shape, or form? But also, cops aren't your friends. So
No, they're not. And Dark Falcon says we need to build an IRL GI robot. I don't know what a gastrointestinal robot is.
oh, it's GI Robot from the it's a comic series.
Ah.
And he is a very violently programmed anti-Nazi.
Okay. That sounds about right, but like GI robot, I'm assuming that's like GI Joe sort of thing.
It's because of when he was built in the story. He was actually built during World War II, if memory serves.
Yeah, so that's the thing. If they build him now, he's going to be like that, but pro-Nazi.
You know, fair point and terrifying and oops. Somebody Snow says Nazis are poopy heads. They are poopy heads. They are 100% poopy heads.
They are. Sir has called my editor a poopy head.
No, you said that I said they were a poopy head, and then I
you
talked about fecal composition.
No, you agreed that you called them a poopy head. We have that on recording.
We do have that on recording. You're not wrong. We have that on recording.
We weren't live for that, but it was recorded.
Which means technically, until you show that recording, you have no evidence.
Oh, okay. Don't make me stop the recording right now, because I will stop the recording. Just Piper, that'll make your job so much more difficult. Anyway, whatever. No, I'm not gonna do that.
And it'll all be my fault.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. So the Florida Attorney General is opening a criminal investigation into the Tate brothers. Which...
I'm not surprised that they're opening a criminal investigation on the Tate brothers, but I'm so upset with this fucking administration. Why did we let the human traffickers come here with open fucking arms?
Well, okay. My question is that, like, I know this is completely irrelevant and it does not matter, but like, does anyone find this guy attractive? Like, he's got Neanderthal brows. He's always got a scowl on his face. But his scowl is always like sideways, like he's in the middle of having a stroke while he does it. Like it's like just the right side of his face goes up and the left side goes down whenever he's talking and scowling. And it's just like, I don't know, he just like, I know I shouldn't make fun of people for their looks, but he just does not look good.
I think it's reasonable to make fun of somebody for their looks if they make making fun of other people for their looks their shtick.
Okay, that's true.
100% he does. So I remember me and my friend Renita Chan did a collaboration. I want to say 2 years ago, where Andrew Tate gave his review of Spider-Man as a character. And the amount that this dude potshots how much of a loser and how much of a wimp Spider-Man is, and how he looks like a nerd and a dork, and how these are all negative traits.
Fucking Spider-Man's dating Zendaya.
Yeah,
can't argue with results, right?
I can't argue with results when Tom Holland is literally dating Zendaya.
Yeah,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Nethercat says Tate was in MMA. He has been punched in the head a lot. True, true.
Hmm.
So maybe everything we're saying is technically ableist.
Yeah, but when the person's a rich piece of shit, who fucking cares?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like, yeah. So, Florida's Attorney General on Tuesday opened a criminal investigation into Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan Tate. Sorry, I'm the way that's reading in my head is that he's a British influencer that uses AOL. It's the American online influencers who face human trafficking charges in Romania and Britain after they arrived in the state last week. Isn't he on record saying that he went to Romania because it's so much easier to avoid human trafficking charges there?
He said that it was easier to bribe the cops and the government, but
Did Tom Holland and Zendaya get married?
Aw.
They're such a cute couple.
But
Have you seen them together? They're adorable.
I have. I believe that he was very specific on not mentioning the exact illegal thing he was trying to bribe cops so that he could do, but he definitely said he moved there because the police were corrupt and it was easier to work with them as a result.
Yeah. So, in exchange with a reporter, excuse me, the Attorney General said that his office had secured and executed subpoenas and warrants in the criminal investigation into the Tate brothers. So last week they arrived in Florida after their travel restrictions were lifted in Romania for some reason. Some reason is highly suspected to be pressure from the Trump administration.
Yeah.
Which Romania has denied that, but that I assume, like that. Of course, if you are giving in to pressure from the Trump administration, then in public, when people ask you if that's what you did, you would deny it, obviously. So
yeah,
the denial doesn't really hold much weight for me.
Also, again, when Tate says that, oh, by the way, I chose this spot because of how corrupt the government is, I'll just assume, I will just believe what you say and infer from there.
Yeah. Yeah, but also, I was going to say, so this is one of the things that, I mean, it doesn't really baffle me because I know that they're just lying through their teeth. They don't actually care. Like, they don't mean anything that they say, in the sense that, like, they don't believe in anything substantial. Fez time. So Trump's whole campaign towards the end was all about, like, oh, we're gonna protect women because trans people are trying to
from what?
From trans people being in bathrooms with them or being on sports teams with them. So like that was their whole focus, and they're saying that, like, oh, we're doing this to protect women. That was the whole justification for it. As soon as he gets into office, he's like, hey, the human traffickers who are known for sex trafficking women, let's give them safe haven in Florida. Like, excuse me?
Also, this is the same party that just introduced a bill in Texas. I believe it's in Texas. Texas. That states that being trans is considered a form of fraud and therefore is a prosecutable offense.
Yay.
That's
How is it fraud?
Let's see here. Section 35.515, gender identity fraud. A person commits an offense if the person knowingly makes a false or misleading or verbal or written statement to a governmental entity or the person's employer by identifying the person's biological sex as opposite of the biological sex assigned as a person by birth. An offense under this section is a state jail felony. This act takes effect September 1st, 2025.
So they specifically did that to avoid any federal appeals.
Correct.
Well, shit.
So I wish I was being hyperbolic when I said that, but Nope, not this time. That's just me quoting it. Yay.
See, and this is where like I have like I'm actually like we have reworked how we're doing vacationing and stuff with the kids. It's like
Mhm.
last year we went to Mexico and we did the American border crossing to like the customs or whatever to get to and from Mexico from the States. We did that in Texas. And I have multiple trans kids. So now I'm just like, mm-mm.
Yeah, it would
I'm
be actively unsafe to do so
I
as of September.
like I've actually I've agreed to go to the protest and give a little talk at the Ark Encounter this year.
Hmm.
Um, but like I'm almost at the point where I'm rethinking that, where it's like I just I don't want to enter the States.
Yeah, and I can
It's
completely
it's
understand that.
concerning.
I can completely understand that perspective
There have
because it's
also
just not safe here.
there have also been there have been instances of trans people that have been abroad that when Trump issued that order where like, oh yeah, no, passports have to match your birth sex or whatever, the American trans people that were abroad are now stranded abroad because their passports are no longer acceptable in the United States.
So they just what happens when their time in the other country is up?
Apply for asylum, I guess.
Because like once your time is up, you're forced to go back. That's how it's supposed to work.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't go back because our laws are stupid, that's cool. And you know what the best part is? So I this is an argument I got into with some of the people in my magic group. Or specifically one of the people in my magic group. I in passing noted that I think it was the Lineman Institute, which the one that is responsible for pointing out when a country is on a red flag for genocide. So like Israel was considered red flag for genocide. The United States is now considered red flag for genocide. And I pointed that out, and the other person was wanting context for it, and so I was explaining all of the different steps of genocide and how the passport stuff works as one of the steps. Because if you restrict the movement of those people, that is, you know, literally one of the things that was done to Jewish people in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the ways that trans people are having their passports restricted is the gender marker thing. And the first words out of his mouth from like a 35-year-old man and a father of two was, well, I guess they have to pick one, right? Basically saying, I guess they have to pick one of their genders. And I just snapped at him and going, "Do you know what the fuck a trans person is?"
Apparently not.
Yeah, it's because apparently you don't know, and I don't have the crayons or slurs to explain it to you right now because I've if that is the general understanding of people in this area of what a trans person is like the purple haired person who's confused about their gender and doesn't know who they are, then I've got a much more uphill battle to fight than I fucking thought because I'm dealing with actual stupidity.
So on the stream for the ACA that I did before coming on here, one of the things I talked about with Dan was how there's the postmodernist idea of truth is that truth doesn't really exist. Truth is determined by institutions and power. And that's one of those things where it's like, I don't agree with that, but I am finding it increasingly hard to argue against that point. Because, like, yeah, no, I know what a trans person is, but when, like, there's so much media that's being shoved down everybody's throats about how trans people are all these scary, weird, like, I don't know, it's just
Also, Guitar Rock and
it's
Electric
exhausting.
Meat Mecha, thank you both for the follows. I appreciate that as I get ever more upset at the stupidity around me.
It's like I there we had an election in my province. Unfortunately, Doug Ford is still our guy. Now, fortunately, he doesn't like Trump anymore, so he has taken a hard stance against him. Like I think he said we're going to be cutting off electricity to the states,
Okay.
and Niagara Falls generates a lot of electricity that goes to the states. Um, I'm not sure that that's actually feasible because the way the grid is designed, we actually there have been there's usually a few times a year where we have to pay American utility companies to take our excess electricity. So I'm not sure that that's actually feasible, but I hope so. But anyway, what I was getting at is that we had a rep for the PPC in Canada running in our riding. PPC is basically Canadian MAGA.
Oh boy.
They never win shit, so I wasn't worried about it or whatever. But I got a an ad from the guy, and the whole thing was just him going off on how, trans people are a threat and we're going to protect the children, we're going to protect women, protect people or whatever. And so I emailed him. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad to hear that you are concerned with protecting children. So I assume that that means that my child who is trans, you want them to be protected so they can just have a childhood without having to worry about going to the bathroom in a place where you will see them and be a danger to them, right? That is what you mean when you say protect them? And he responded to me, and he recommended Matt Walsh's movie, What is a Woman?
Which means their propaganda is actively working.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I sent him back Forrest Valkai's redo of the Sex and Sensibility video, which I don't know if you've seen that yet, but it is fantastic.
I saw the original. I haven't seen the redo of it.
Yeah, no, he was mad at how many thumps there were every time he smacked his hands on the table.
Oh, is the actual information in the video identical?
It's not identical. He followed the same script, but he also like addressed a lot of complaints that people had with it. So it went from a half hour long to an hour and a half long.
You know what? I'm perfectly okay with that because I'm not gonna lie, for the longest time, the original Sex and Sensibility or video existed in my phone as notes. Because I took a bunch of notes on the video so that I would always have access to them. And I'm like, you know what? Nope. I can't articulate this any better than he did. I'm not even going to try. I am just going to refer to this shit when I need it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah, anyway, back to the Tates. British authorities have sought Tate's arrest over criminal accusations of rape and human trafficking. Florida officials have said that the brothers who arrived in a private jet on Thursday morning are not welcome in the state. So DeSantis said that Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct. So like Ron DeSantis doesn't want them there. And he says when he found out that they were coming through posts on social media, nobody warned him. And so he says, I don't know how it came to this. We were not involved. We were not notified. And you're like, okay, have you met Trump? Yes, I know you have met Trump because you used to try and suck up to Trump all the time before you ran against him and then dropped out immediately.
I mean, at the very least, he said that he's against that stuff, but it's DeSantis. I don't trust how far he's willing to actually own that stance.
Yeah. These guys have themselves publicly admitted to participating in what very much appears to be soliciting, trafficking, and preying upon women around the world. And, of course, the Tate brothers' lawyer maintained their innocence in a scathing statement filled with vulgarities that vilified Mr. DeSantis and Mr. Uthmeyer on Tuesday. So that's what you want. You want a vulgar lawyer representing you. But, yeah, anyway. That's all we need to hear about them.
Yay.
But they're being brought up on charges, hopefully.
I'm tired already. And not because of the Tennessee drive. Because the world around me blows dick.
you're giving blowing dick a bad rap with that one.
I recognize I 100% am. You're right. You're right. The world around me is not blowing dick, because that would assume that it's actually giving something. The world around me is a blown dick that has a headache now.
Is it time to start loading Luigi? It's been time to start loading Luigi since before Luigi did Luigi's thing.
I cannot endorse the actions of Luigi. I, however, can say that they were probably very effective. Which could be important. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Remember, if you don't punch a Nazi today, you might have to shoot a Nazi tomorrow. Okay. Anyway, shall we move on to the tweets?
Sure.
Artemis. Well, first, Artemis says, ads why? Because my kids like food. Although,
And
to be fair, I do not control the ads when I'm streaming. I just let Twitch and YouTube do their own thing.
I was also going to say, once upon a time, we were able to control ads on Twitch, and so I had no ads on my channel. And then we stopped being able to control ads on Twitch, and now we just control their frequency. So I gave up.
Oh my god. Lord of Uzkalak says, speaking of Luigi, they're now trying to smear him by saying he did porn. Counterpoint, a lot of the posts that I've seen about Luigi are about how attractive he is, so like saying that you can see his naked body somewhere is not going to harm his public image, I don't think.
Ivana Dragmeyer says, did you hear there's a potential that it actually wasn't Luigi, and the incompetent New York Police Department is just incompetent and grabbed the first guy available?
Yeah, that is possible. I'm not sure that I would, because like the guy, like Luigi had a bag with a homemade gun in it and a manifesto. So like, it's possible that it wasn't him, but like the fact that someone called it in and been like, hey, the guy that looks like the guy on that picture is here, and when they found him, he actually had stuff that would be relevant to that sort of thing. I don't know. But that being said, Eric Adams won't shut up about the evidence for the case, so there's a good chance that he's going to get a mistrial anyway.
Good.
And like realistically, like the appropriate solution in that, normally, legally speaking, is a change of venue. I can't get a fair trial here, so we need to change the venue. Go somewhere where I'm less well known. He's a national sensation, man. Where's he going to go?
Isn't that one of the issues they had with Al Capone for the longest time, too?
Sounds about right.
There was nowhere you could go that he wasn't a known figure.
Yeah. Because everyone deserves a fair trial, and you can't get a fair trial if you're in national... Go to Denmark, maybe. I'd go to prison in Denmark. That's a nice time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. On to the tweets. We're starting with Dan Bongino. Do you know who that is?
I don't think I know.
He's someone in the Trump administration that's just like a podcast guy. I don't know what his position in the administration is. I don't know what his podcast is, but like he's just a guy, but he's a guy that has connections. So he posted, oh god damn it. Boop. He posted, today is March 2nd and Donald Trump is the president of the United States. You see the date on that post?
Yeah, it's March 1st. He pre-posted it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's mildly amusing. But I also on my account that I use for collecting these screenshots, I do have access to the community notes voting feature thing. Like I can write community notes and vote on other people's community notes. And this one made me chuckle because like the first guy was just like, it's actually March 1st. And then like like you're supposed to provide a source, and the source he provided was like dateandtime.com. But then what I just thought it was hilarious that like Another person posted like, "Oh, comments belong in the comments section, not in community notes." This person commented in the community notes. Like,
Okay.
okay. And is this a helpful explanation of why added context isn't needed? I voted no. Then this person says,
Stygander and voice like Cartman is saying that he's the deputy of the FBI.
"Oh,
That's what he is in the Trump admin.
and his qualifications are he's a white guy with a podcast, just like all the other white guys."
Yep.
But then another community note is, seriously, stop abusing community notes. They say, well, abusing community notes. And then links to a website with a slur in the title.
Remember, Facebook is getting rid of their fact checkers in lieu of having a community note system.
Yeah, so in case you were wondering what the behind the scenes on the community notes looks like, it's bullshit like this. And then it's just a matter of how many people vote on it as to whether or not it becomes visible to the general public.
Jessa says that he's also a Nazi.
Yeah, so Lenari, sorry, that was Jassa in mine as well. He says he's a Nazi, that's his qualifications. It's not surprising.
So as easy as it is to point to anybody in the Trump administration and just say they're a Nazi because it's probably likely, I would want some kind of evidence still before making that particular claim. It is more than likely
I'm sure there's
true.
plenty in his podcast.
Yeah, it is one of those things that I could agree is probably more than likely true, but I still hold that word with some amount of weight.
Yeah.
And
that's
there is an easy default here though. If I wanted to be pedantic with myself, I would say the Trump administration is a Nazi administration, so anybody in the administration is a Nazi.
That is fair.
Like that is also an argument that I can get behind.
I mean, that said, there are people that were not necessarily put there by Trump that are hanging out with the hopes of like holding back some of the shit. They're not going to be there long, I don't think, but like I wouldn't say that those people are Nazis. And I'm sure there are bureaucrats that is just like, I'm just a paper pusher, I don't do anything one way or the other party wise.
They just kind of exist.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the 10 people at the table rule. Yeah, no, I get it.
So like
you're not wrong, but
I'm willing to accept that argument, but I would still like something that he has said, done, or espoused that can be considered Nazi. Accepting that being part of the admin is good enough.
That is a good point, Progress Only. Paper pushers in the Nazi regime still got in trouble in Nuremberg.
And we set the terms for that, so...
Yeah.
They were just doing their jobs.
That is a good point. Elon Musk tweeted, "Now we're up to 22 Dem senators all doing the same cringe video simultaneously." I don't know if you saw it, but they were doing a video where they played a clip of Trump saying a lie, and then all of them responded with, it wasn't identical. It was like, that's a lie. Here's the truth. And then they would give like a little blurb about something that Trump did that actually makes things worse for everyday people. But now this guy who works for the government says, "I will buy a Cybertruck for anyone that can provide proof of who wrote this particular piece of propaganda. First person to post proof in the replies to this post gets the truck."
The question is, why do you need to know?
Yeah,
why do you need that information?
The Democrats all put, well, because he's saying it's propaganda. They're saying that Trump lied and then giving actual facts to why.
I hate to point out that propaganda is anything that you put out on the internet with the purpose of changing somebody's political opinion. But I hate to destroy what propaganda is in the eyes of Elon Musk.
And we know he watches the show. He's a big fan.
He definitely watches this particular show all the time. Let's see here.
Dark Falcon says, "Why would I want a rolling trash bin? For the resale. So you can sell it to someone who actually does want it. Then you get to basically scam an idiot out of a bunch of their money and feel good about it, because anyone who buys a Cybertruck at this point is a bad person."
Not untrue, but yeah, I feel like if I had one, that would be the first thing that I would do is sell the damn thing.
Absolutely. I don't want to drive it.
I have a I have a 2023 model car that has quite literally driven across America without any issues. I don't have a reason to have a tin can. I'm just not.
A tin. Have you seen? I saw a video the other day where a YouTuber rented one for like a week, and like the video wasn't specifically on the Cybertruck. That was just like a middle of the video thing that he did. But like, do you know how to turn off the Cybertruck? So,
No.
so I know Teslas are all about having everything in their screen, which I think is stupid as shit. But I had always assumed that they still had a button on the dashboard for the most common thing that you are going to do in your car. Like every time you get in your car to go, you start it. So, but apparently, I don't know how to turn it on because he didn't show that, but to turn it off, you have to go into the menu, then into a sub-menu, then scroll all the way down to the bottom, even past something called Joe mode, whatever the fuck Joe mode is. And then at the very bottom, there's power off. And you hit power off, and then it gives you a prompt. Are you sure you want to turn the power off? Confirm. So every time you turn the truck off, you have to scroll all the way to the bottom of the screen, go into a menu, then go into a sub-menu, then scroll to the bottom of that menu, and then press the button, and then confirm that you want to turn it off. What? No.
Why?
No. That is unnecessary. That is bad design. That is terrible design.
Is Elon just sitting there going, well, the last thing you'd want to do with one of these things is turn him off? I mean, obviously, you want to be driving it around town all the time.
Apparently, but like... Yeah, I was gonna get into the goofiness that is like before you can put it in the car wash, you have to put it in car wash mode, otherwise it breaks. I'm like, it's bulletproof, but it can't handle a car wash unless it's in car wash mode.
Fucking dumb.
And
really freaking stupid.
Dark Falcon says, "Fun fact: raccoons have been known to get into Cybertrucks, mistaking them for trash bins." I mean,
they look like them.
They do.
I'm still just in the in that awestruck mode where I'm looking at a member of the government who is literally because he now technically is a member of the government who's literally asking people who made this. I'll give you a bounty. He's literally asking for a bounty hunter.
Yeah, and it's like whoever came up with it. I think it was Cory Booker actually retweeted this and was like, "It was me. You can keep your truck." But it's like you're allowed to call the president a liar. Everybody has called the president a liar since like as long as I can remember. That's been like the one thing that both sides can always agree on is that politicians lie, including the president, even if it's a president you like. He's probably lying about shit.
Yep.
So like they said he's a liar and gave the truth. That's not a crime. There's nothing you can do about it. Nothing you should be able to do about it.
But putting that person on a list to make their life hell is something within Elon's character to do.
Even Honest Abe, do you remember his answer to when he was accused of being an atheist? It was basically like, well, I've never not said that your religion's not untrue.
What?
Yeah, no, he was accused of being an atheist, and his response to being accused of being an atheist was like a convoluted, like, well, I've never said that it's not true.
Okay, that's specific. TM.
Okay, Fennec is sending me a link and telling me to look. I don't know. Okay, am I gonna have to type that out manually because of the
Cybertruck no match fury hungry.html? I read that as furry first, so there's where my brain is, I guess.
I mean, given our audience, oh my god, there's a big long ass number and I don't have my number pad yet. 145543739.html. Cybertruck no match for the fury of hungry raccoons. Oh yeah, there we go. So we can go.
It is no match for raccoon
next news
furries.
article today. Unlucky owner of a Tesla Cybertruck had an unfortunate incident with a daring horde of raccoons. Just call them a fucking raccoon, you nerd. While on a camping trip. In a post on the Cybertruck Owners Club forum, the owner showed off pictures of the vehicle's tonneau cover, which was covered in adorable muddy paw prints. They tried to enter the vault overnight. The animals are possibly just one animal. Really put some effort into their attempted heist, gnawing apart the cover's trim pieces and leaving massive holes. Damage that'll likely take a lot of time and money to fix. Wash mode won't work anymore.
Why
tonneau
in the
cover is the
world?
thing that goes over the bed. I figured that. I'm just
Remember, your Cybertruck is able to stop bullets.
But it can't stop a raccoon.
It can't stop Teefsies.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
Stagander says, isn't every Swasta truck owner an unfortunate person?
Yep. I mean, to a point.
I mean, they were fortunate enough to have that much money, I guess.
Yeah, and
but,
you know what they say, a fool and his money are soon parted.
Yep, a fool and his butthole are soon parted.
Mm-hmm.
Neon and Stankfoot, thank you for resubscribing, saying raccoons are fucking smart. Yeah, they know who the bad people are.
They keep beating the marshmallow test. Like, not the marshmallow test that we think of, like with the testing delayed gratification. But there's a test where they put like a marshmallow in a test tube, and there are various iterations of the test that there's the way that you're supposed to get the marshmallow out of the test tube. So like one will be like the marshmallow's floating in water, and you have pebbles in the enclosure with you, and so you're supposed to put the pebbles in, and that raises the water level to where you can grab it with your paws. But like all of the iterations of that test, the raccoons keep breaking it and getting the marshmallow in the wrong way, which then means that like the results of the test are useless, because like it's a yes, no, like did they get the marshmallow or not? But like if they did it in not the way that we're measuring, then we can't use this test anymore. So yeah, I like raccoons.
They certainly have made a name for themselves as trash pandas.
They have.
Because they attacked trash. I mean a Cybertruck.
Yes. Same thing.
Same idea.
Ethan Haim, ND, says, not only did the Dems not applaud or stand for the stories honoring average Americans, but neither did their guests in the gallery. Even for the most heartwarming moments, most stayed seated. Very few ever applauded. It was heartbreaking to see.
Why was it heartbreaking to see? Why did it matter?
Because they didn't applaud when Trump said, veterans are people that serve our country.
Yeah, I don't know why I would applaud anything that comes out of his mouth. Like, he can say the sky is blue.
Well, I mean,
I'll give him a side eye.
In fairness, they did applaud when he said that we've sent $5 billion to Ukraine. But he meant that to be a bad point.
You see that Republicans have started advising that they shouldn't be holding town halls anymore, right?
Because they keep getting booed off the stage because they're so wildly unpopular. Here's the thing that they, like, in a democracy, the government works for the people. The politicians are supposed to be our employees. We hired them for the job. They're supposed to be doing the job that we hired them to do. So when they go to a town hall and they get booed off the stage because they are not doing things that the people want them to do, the correct response there is, oh, I'm not doing my job correctly. I should do the things that the people actually want me to do because that is what they hired me to do. Like, that is how it is supposed to work.
Yep. Instead,
but
it
Republicans,
is all party politics.
Yeah, but instead, well, I say Republicans, but the Democrats are kind of like this too, where they feel like they're entitled to their positions. It's like, no, this is my job. I will have this job until the day that I die at 172 years old.
No, the fuck you won't. You will be. You were elected into it, and we can get you out of it. And the way we would prefer to get you out of these elected positions is by electing somebody else. But I can't go much further than that.
There are other ways.
There are other ways. People can put up articles of impeachment on you and then rip your job away from you. That would be a terrible stain to have on your particular existence as a politician.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have a felon as a president.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Laura Loomer says, breaking.
No.
The U.S. Supreme Court just denied President Trump's bid to cancel $2 billion in USAID spending in a 5-4 vote. So basically, SCOTUS is overruling Trump to pay out foreign aid. Roberts and Barrett sided with Democrat-appointed justices. Trump appointed Barrett. Do they not even feel the need to pretend to understand what checks and balances are anymore?
No, they don't. They think that the president said the thing, therefore the thing should happen, and that's just how it's supposed to operate.
She's explicitly saying here that, Trump appointed Barrett, therefore Barrett should vote for the things that Trump wants. That is not how it's supposed to work.
No,
that is
not.
That is supposed to be the whole justification behind them having lifetime appointments, is that they know, having a lifetime appointment means you do not feel beholden to the person who appointed you there. You can just do what is actually the correct thing to do without worrying about your future political career, because your career is as a justice of the Supreme Court, because you can't lose that job. That is supposed to be the justification for that. So, Barrett voting against Trump is the proper... Yeah, Lord of Collect says USAID will never not sound wrong to me. I always say US aid. Yeah, that's how I read it as well, because that's one of those things that it's a pronounceable acronym. Why would you not just say it? But everybody else seems to be saying it.
It's also what it does. It is an aid program, but
so it's weird that that's how it's said, but everybody else says it that way, so I assume that's the correct way to say it. But yeah, no, the one reason why they're supposed to have lifetime appointments is to avoid the thing that Laura Loomer is now saying should be the norm. So what I'm getting out of this is that Republicans should be able to get on board with limited term limits for the SCOTUS, right?
Should be able to. They'll only agree with that if we have a 6-3 lead with Democrats.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway. A lot of Republicans are big mad at Barrett right now, even though so the $2 billion that they said he can't cancel, that's not new funding. That's not new funding for continuing programs. That's payment for stuff that has already happened. This is just hey, you did a thing for me, now I will pay you for the thing that you did. So
they're trying to fucking so completely
this isn't Barrett and Roberts saying, hey, no, USAID actually does good work and it needs to continue. This is them just saying, no, we can pay the bills that we already have. So they're not heroes by any stretch of the imagination here.
Completely unrelated. In World of Warcraft, there is a group called the Defias Brotherhood. They originally were called the Stonemasons Guild. They were contracted to rebuild Stormwind after the First War, and the entire reason they became a violent gang with uprisings and all kinds of shit is because the nobles decided to not pay them their agreed upon payments for shit they had already done. It has, and the Queen of Stormwind died as a result of one of the riots. A rock got thrown at her temple. It was a really nasty thing. I'm not saying this has any relevance or bearing on anything going on right now, but this weird thing happens when you don't pay stuff as a country that you've already said that you're going to pay. I'm just saying strange shit happens. And stories have entire arcs of stories in books, movies, and video games have been written about the sordid end results of these things.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, when you do, when you don't pay people get mad.
Just a weird thing that happens. So strange.
That's also Trump's MO, though.
How
many lawsuits have there been from contractors not getting paid when they do work for him?
Yeah, no wonder he happens to align himself with the giant electric and internet supplying billionaire. So man, it's another really cool video game. It was Final Fantasy VII, and the Shinra Corporation were really doing bad by the general populace, and God, man, they had an avalanche of things happen to them. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I do disagree with the opening bombing mission.
The one that hits the first generator.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I do, because in that specific scenario, they were actually killing the planet, like in a
Yeah.
measurable way.
Apparently, the Tesla chairwoman just dumped $33 million in Tesla stock.
Pump and dump time. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, did you see Elon was posting on Twitter about how, like, it's like somebody posted that, like, oh, Tesla's supposed to grow by like 300%. And he was retweeting that, being like, no, more like 1,000%. Like he's trying desperately, because there was a time when he could affect the entire stock market, or well, not the entire market, but like the entire value of any particular corporation or meme coin or whatever, just by tweeting about it. And he's now past the point where the SEC is going to investigate him for that, because he can just defund the SEC by sending one of his Doge bros into it, apparently. But
also, it should be considered illegal to do that in general.
oh, it is
Just
illegal.
saying.
It's just somebody has to actually stand up to them and do something about it. But yeah, no. So he retweeted that and was like, "Oh no, more like 1,000%," because he's clearly desperately wanting his company to not tank in the stock market.
God, wouldn't it be funny if at the end of all of this he becomes, this isn't going to happen, mind. This is entirely fantasy. But if at the end of all of this he just becomes a penniless homeless dude.
Big Mike's a little bit behind in the stream. Says if you weren't so anti-truck in general, you'd know what a tonneau cover is and how to pronounce it. Yeah, no, I actually thought about making that joke where it's like, yeah, well, I fucking hate trucks anyway, so who fucking cares? So like, yeah, no, I acknowledge that I don't know that because I don't like trucks. That doesn't make trucks good. They're still big and stupid.
You're anti-truck, therefore trucks are good, actually. I like the things you dislike for some reason.
Yeah, no, every time I see a big fucking stupid truck driving around, like I was dropping the kids off to school this morning, and like parking is a nightmare at every school I've ever been to or whatever. So I always park like on the street a little bit of ways and walk them. And I'm not the only person that does that, so the streets get very busy with parking as well. And there was a big ass truck trying to get through these things. And I'm just looking at it like, if that was a normal sized truck, like a classic like farm truck that you think of, not like these big beasts of an F-150 or whatever, but like the classic like just little workhorse trucks, he'd have no problem getting through there. But because he's a big stupid truck, he can't get through it. He has to like
instead you have the little Wienermobile.
Yeah. And like me and my little bitty electric car, which actually it's not little bitty, it's fairly big for a car, because it's not just trucks that are getting big. Cars are getting bigger as well. And that is also stupid. But yeah, I still had an easier time of it in my not so little car. But anyway, that was a nice little derailment. So yeah, next up, Fast Feaster. Oh yeah, so this is in response to Laura Loomer. Says, thanks a lot, Amy Coney Barrett and Chief Justice Roberts. There's another word on this tweet. You want to guess what the other word is?
Is it the Arsler?
No, I'll give you a hint. It makes this tweet seem like it's just something out of the 90s.
Is it the F slur?
No.
Or is it just
not
gay? Oh, God. I thought it would be something that would actually be kind of upsetting, but it's just that. It's just a not joke.
Okay, Big Mike, are you just trolling? Like vans are absolutely more practical in every way. The only way a van fails is with extremely tall loads, and those are very rare.
Those are the kind of things that are very frequent to be needed here where I live,
Like
but I live in a rural area where people build a lot of shit.
I have a van. You know how many times I've been hauling stuff truck style in the back of my van? You just put the seats down, and then it can carry just as much as a truck. And I can carry all my kids in it, and they're not like squished up against the seat.
Do you feel like Big Mike is a truck enthusiast? Also, Spooky
Maybe.
Mob them. Thank you for resubscribing. I appreciate it.
Especially for rhinos, need the van is more practical. Yeah, but even like so like you like if you're thinking about hauling things, like they're the big, like there are big work vans that are better than trucks, even if you don't need to carry your family around in it. But yeah. Anyway,
like,
so this just like I didn't even pull Laura Loomer's tweet initially until I saw this response, and this one just made me giggle. I'm just like, it's so stupid, it's so dumb, and I love it. So I'm like, okay, now I have to pull the whole thing so you guys have context. And Sovereign Bra says,
sovereign citizen, cool.
The Jewish Sanhedrin recently wrote a letter to Donald Trump asking him to establish an international divine court and global Noahide law. Do you know what happens to Christians under Noahide law? Like,
no, I don't, because I don't study things I don't give a shit about.
Well, the answer was in the replies. They get beheaded, apparently. But this is just funny on so many levels, because, like, when he says the Jewish Sanhedrin, the actual thing that happened was there is an organization within Judaism called the Nascent Sanhedrin, which it is an attempt to reestablish the Sanhedrin, because, as it turns out, the Sanhedrin don't actually exist anymore. That's not a thing. There is no Jewish authority like that, like there was back in the first century. These guys are trying to reestablish that, but the vast majority of Jews are just like, I don't care. Go away.
Okay.
So, yeah, those guys wrote Trump a letter, but, like, so fucking what? Maybe
you have a group of people that petition for a thing.
Maybe you should take these feelings that you're feeling right now when a religion you disagrees with tries to influence the president, and apply those feelings, like, consider how other people of other religions might feel when Christians do the same thing, except significantly more successfully.
However, I will say that sometimes, when presented with that challenge, a lot of times you will find that they will just say that's okay, only because I watched that challenge happen with what's his face from the NIFB. God, Steven Anderson. And he literally just went, I don't care if it's the Taliban so long as they kill the gays. Sometimes that one just blows up in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Because as much as my adult brain is not programmed to think this way, sometimes people are just evil.
Okay, Drew Harrison says, what do I do when it rains and I need the four-wheel drive to navigate in the muddy road or in the snow?
You get a four-wheel drive van?
Yeah, plenty of vehicles that aren't trucks have four-wheel drive, but also four-wheel drive makes you better at, like, going fast in the snow, in the mud. It does not help with stopping.
So hold on. Given that I'm in a very, very rural area where four-wheel drive is very relevant, I think I can speak on this one. It's not the A and B that you have to worry about most when trying to get a four-wheel drive vehicle. It's the minute that you do not see where a snowbank is ending, and part of your vehicle, which just happens to be the part that is not engaged by the engine, is off of the road now, or is off of anywhere where it can get traction. The point of four-wheel drive is not to make driving in those conditions easier. It does nothing for that. The point of four-wheel drive
is to get unstuck.
Yeah, is to get unstuck. That is
Yeah.
what it is for. My family has not only vehicles that have four-wheel drive, but also specifically have a side-by-side four-wheeler, solely because our two-wheel drive vehicles can and have gotten stuck when Georgia gets hit under a snowbank, or when things get particularly muddy and vision conditions are bad, or just the general human error of I drove 1 inch further than I was supposed to and now I'm stuck. In every one of those scenarios, a four-wheel drive vehicle is there to take care of that. But again, its purpose is not there to make traction easier in the snow. It does nothing to make traction easier in the snow. What makes traction easier in the snow is snow chains. That's what makes tractions easier in the snow, is
Yeah.
equipping your wheels better, not having your engine engage both sides of
And
your
actually,
vehicle's wheels.
my little electric car is really good in the snow because the batteries make it really heavy and they are low down in it. So I have a really low center of gravity. So I have really good control in the snow. Just this is something they don't really tell you with electric vehicles. Do not use one pedal driving in snow, because that makes you just slide all the fuck over the place, because there's no anti-lock braking system with that. So if you, and it's like if you do it gently enough and early enough, then it's fine. But like the whole point of one pedal driving is you're regenerating the battery by braking pretty hard with the regen thing. So it's not good for snow. But yeah, no, my little car with the heavy batteries on the bottom, great in the snow. And we had a lot of snow this year, so I really got to try it out.
Yeah, I feel perfectly comfortable commenting on this one because my situation is one where four-wheel drive has become relevant in my life quite a lot. And
Oh, also my car is four-wheel drive. I wanted the two-wheel drive one, but unfortunately there was a weirdness with the trim levels or whatever where like they just decided that everybody wants four-wheel drive, even though like 99% of the time I don't need it and it's impossible to turn off. But or no, I think you can turn it off, but then it's weird. It affects, oh, you can't turn it off and still use one pedal driving. So I don't know.
I don't know what one pedal driving is.
That's instead of taking your foot off the gas and then pushing down on the brake pedal, you just, the act of letting up on the gas applies the brakes. And in an electric car, it'd be it's uses regenerative braking to slow down. So you're not actually using the brakes, you're using the resistance of the electric motor.
I don't know how I would feel about doing that, just because my habits are all built on having a brake pedal.
It takes a little bit of getting used to, but it is actually, it's really easy to get used to. And in some ways it's actually a little safer, because like if you need to slow down in a hurry, yes, you still have the brakes. You can push on the brakes when you need it. But when you take your foot off the gas, you've already started slowing down. So it's good in an emergency. It is easy to get used to. I actually, the difficulty now is when I'm driving the van, I kind of get annoyed at like, oh, I took my foot off the gas and I'm not slowing down as much as I want to be. So now I have to push the brakes like a plebe. Okay.
Oriador says regender braking. I saw a Trump. I want to walk away now.
Yeah, so he says, to the great farmers of the United States, get ready to start making a lot of agricultural product to be sold inside of the United States. Tariffs will go on external product on April 2nd. Have fun. It's like that's not how economies work. You can't just restructure the whole trade system with a tweet. Like a farmer can't just, oh, this year I've decided I am going to plant something that we need in the States. Also, like, there are crops that don't grow in most of the states, like coffee. Like, yeah, there are some places in the States where you can grow coffee, but you can't grow enough to meet all the demand for coffee in the States.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, it's unconstitutional to levy tariffs on exports. I don't think that's what he's saying here. I think he's just an idiot and he doesn't know how to word things. He's talking about imports. I think in context this was specific to China, but I guess he doesn't realize that, like, Canada and Mexico supply an awful lot of produce to the States. And we've already started taking American whiskey off our shelves.
I mean, I can completely understand that. I is it weird that as an American, when I see people with like American flag decals on their car, I get uncomfortable now?
You know what? I get the same thing. Canada has never been as jingoistic as the States. And it has always been kind of like, if you're flying a Canadian flag, that's generally seen as fine. It's fine. Because we're Canadians, we're proud of being Canadian, but like, we're not going to be in your face about it. So like, yeah, we'll put up our little flag, but like that's probably going to be it. Then the trucker protest happened, and they were doing the thing that Americans do, where they like their truck had like five Canadian flags on it and a bunch of bumper stickers and whatnot, and they kind of co-opted the flag to a point where now when I see someone with a Canadian flag, I just assume they're an asshole. It's like it's gotten to a point where I do not feel comfortable flying my own country's flag because it's only assholes that do that.
Should never be how you end up feeling about that, but it's what happens as an end result.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Canada Day feels really... Canada Day, for those who don't know, that's basically the Canadian version of the of Independence Day. So where we celebrate our country's creation, or our confederacy. Sorry, we were confederated in 1867. So yeah, it was technically a confederacy. So that doesn't, like, I'm not talking about ideologically we were not on the same page as your confederacy. But yeah, anyway. So we're saying fly the Ukraine flag. So one of the things that I've been looking for to kind of counterbalance the assholeness that has been appropriated by the Canadian, or by like the truck convoys with the Canadian flag, is there's a Canadian pride flag, which the red bars on the side of the flag have been replaced by rainbows. And I really like that one. And I've been looking for that in the form of one of those like car window flags for a while. It's like, I would be perfectly happy to throw those on my car in Canada Day. That would be great. Because that says, I am proud of my country, but I'm not one of those assholes. Because as it turns out, those assholes and homophobia kind of go hand in hand.
Tend to be assholes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so anyway, Trump wants to restructure the entire economy by tweeting at it.
Well, that's a way to get around Congress, but not that Congress is doing anything to actually stop him anymore.
Do you know offhand what the price of eggs are where you are?
About $7 a dozen.
Okay, it's about $4 a dozen here, and that's Canuck dollars. So it's like,
what?
That's like $3.50 American.
I am incredibly jealous of your eggs, which sounds really weird, but
Stoff, get on it.
No, we can't keep asking Stoff to indulge in your degeneracy, not
But
for free.
Stoff has yeah, fair point. Okay, JD Vance retweeted this. What's great is this person changed their name after this happened to JD Vance was a DEI admit to Yale Law School. So they posted, for all the tough talk, these people are wildly, insanely soft, with the headline, Vance family moved to undisclosed location after hundreds of pro-Ukraine protesters swarmed ski resort ahead of vacation. JD Vance retweeted that by saying, "These people are such idiots. We had a great time during our weekend in Vermont. We barely noticed the protesters, and almost everyone we met was kind and generous, and Vermont is beautiful. This headline about being moved to an undisclosed location is that we moved our hotel so the kids could have more privacy. We didn't disclose it because the Secret Service doesn't like when we advertise my location." In other words, you moved to an undisclosed location after there were protesters. Like, like, no lie was in the headline. How is that being an idiot saying that you moved to, like, you said that you did the thing that they said you did, and you're saying that they're idiots for saying that you did the thing that you admitted to doing.
Yeah, that's God. I was trying to think if there was another example of that shit happening where you basically just explain what somebody said you did. But the only thing I can come up with is that one meme of going, that actually makes it worse. You understand how that makes it worse, right? It's the only thing, like, my brain blanked on everything else.
So Van Briggs is asking if I have a Throne account. I did set one up at one point, but there was something like I don't know. I was having trouble finding things that I actually wanted on it, as opposed to just like adding things for the sake of having them on a list that people can buy.
Hmm.
And like I do have an Amazon wish list. I know people don't want to use Amazon right now, but like I do have a wish list there. There is, I don't remember what's on it right now. There I know my partner has access to that account, so she sometimes accidentally adds things that are not necessarily supposed, like she'll be making lists of things
That's where
that
that sizing kit came from.
No, that's not where that came from. No, but like I don't actively maintain it or anything, but like I know there's a gift card option where you can just load a gift card, and it says like the image says like $100, but like you can do any amount. It doesn't have to be that much. But like yeah, I've been using the Amazon wish list because Amazon, it's just easier to find stuff that I actually need and want,
because they basically have the most expansive warehouse of that stuff.
Yeah, like a lot of the stuff on Throne seemed to be like Temu dropship type stuff.
Wait, you know that on Throne you can just add an Amazon link, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, when it's because on the search bar where it says enter product link, you can just add a link to an Amazon thing, and then it's there. So instead of people having to use the Amazon wish list, which can reveal some personal information, Throne works as an in between for you.
No, so my Amazon wish list goes to my PO box, which is registered under Vice Rhino, which gives me problems every year when I have to renew because they expect to see ID that says Vice Rhino on it, but like I don't have that.
I don't have my PO box right now because I can't really afford it, but I've had that issue where they've been like, "Who is Cirrus?"
Well, the best part though is that like we're a small town. It's the same lady every year, and every year she just looks at him and is like, "Vince? Who is Vince? You're not Vince." Like, no, I'm not. Just like I wasn't last year. I'm Justin. But it's Vice Rhino. See, look, I have a post office card in the name of Vice Rhino. Can you just take that as ID? Like, that's the whole reason I got it, was to stop this conversation from happening every year.
Nope, you get to have the conversation every year.
It still happens. And it's the same lady every time. I think, you know what? It's actually an improvement, though, because the first 2 years I had the P.O. box, the lady I ended up with there was like 150 years old and would type by like point and peck, but like so slowly, like she didn't know where any of the keys were. She'd have to like go through row by row to look for each one and then hit it. And she could never do anything right the first time round. So like you'd get most of the way through doing the paperwork and then be like, oh, I typed your address wrong, so now we have to start over and do the whole thing again. It was
like, ma'am, no, you don't. You don't. I promise you, we're past the age of typewriters.
It was so yeah, no, like the sloths in Zootopia. Yes, absolutely. It was exactly like that. Like, and I'm not even exaggerating. She was like, that's how she was doing it. She would like finger across the top row, down, next row. Like she'd do that to find every single letter. It took me like 45 minutes to sign up for the P.O. box with her doing the paperwork. So
Man,
like, yeah, I will take the person who's confused at the fact that I'm not Vince over that.
I feel weird and called out for being a peck typer, but
You can
I
be a
also,
point and peck typer as long as you can do it. Like you can get pretty fast with point and peck.
yeah, I can do over 100 words a minute
Yeah,
with point
she
and
could
peck.
not.
I'm fine.
She
I
you measure her typing speed in minutes per word.
So fun thing. So I went to a technical high school, and we had a typing class where we were supposed to learn, the home keys and all that fun stuff. But I had been playing MMORPGs. I had been
I know
playing
where
WAW and
WASD is.
yeah, I had been playing WoW and RuneScape. So I never I was having to communicate with people very quickly in real time, but without having ever learned about home keys or anything like that. It just as necessity, I got quicker at typing.
I still remember it was grade 10. We were in the classroom and I thought it was the dumbest thing ever with them teaching us how to type. We'd be doing the thing and we would all be chanting together, go F, 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 space, J, 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 space, D, 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 space, K, 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 space. Oh my God, K, K, K.
Wait. So what's funny is that when we were doing, because we had a typing program that would measure your GWAM, the gross words a minute, and I think I hit like 111 at my fastest, and not consistently, mind you, but just like, aha, I got it really really high this time. I'm super excited, and I remember showing my teacher that and being told, "Oh, we have a typing competition." I didn't know that was a fucking thing. Technical high school, weird competitions, I guess. We couldn't win any sports events, but we had typing competitions, I guess. Um, and I remember her watching me type, and she went from "we could enter you into the typing competition" to "we are not entering you into the typing competition. We can't." Because peck type, apparently if you peck typed, that was considered too incorrect, I guess.
Well, yeah, the way I see it, it doesn't matter how you're doing it as long as you do it. Like if you're proficient, if you can do it fast, doesn't matter how you get there.
Like, I recognize that because I do peck typing, there is an upper limit to how fast I can go. I will never be able to go
Cirrus is a massive pecker.
Oh my God. I will never be able to go at a high enough speed with zero errors because I have to peck burn. I mean, at this point I have to peck type. It's the habit I've had for 20 years. So I recognize there's an upper limit to how far and fast I can go while still being incredibly accurate. And I'm fucking okay with that. If I can type fast enough to get the shit I need to get out there in the middle of a video game, I think I'm doing fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that was the last tweet. We done.
We had to end on JD Vance.
We ended on JD Vance. Couch fucker extraordinaire.
Did I just hear a giggle at that?
No, you heard my partner telling the dog, which
okay.
I assume means that she is either going through the garbage or on the couch with messy paws.
Mm.
Or jumping up when we don't want her to. We've been trying to get her to stop. She's been really needy. So it's weird. But at the same time, maybe a little bit understanding because like she's been really needy since we moved in here. And I think it might be because she's allowed out in the yard. So because she's allowed out in the yard, the kids aren't taking her for full walks as often as they used to. Because she used to get walked for like 15 minutes each, 3 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now it's like they just walk her when they get home from school. And she spends a good chunk of time outside anyway. But I think she misses the human interaction. Which, like, it's not like we don't play with her when she's inside. But like she's getting obnoxious about it though.
I can understand that. Because Growlithe and shit play outside a whole bunch, but if I'm not the one paying attention to them, they will give me hell.
She also hates it when we clean up her toys. Like when we put the toys in the toy bin, she will just go and pick them out one by one, drop them at our feet, give us a dirty look, and then go get the next one.
I mean, it's organized chaos. The dog knows where they are. You're the one that fucked him up.
Well, you see, my goal is she's actually a very trainable dog. Like if we put the effort into training her to do something consistently, she learns it really quick. So we are debating whether or not to train her to actually clean up her toys and put them away. I know that's a thing that dogs can do. And then we can use that on the kids. Be like, if the dog can clean up after herself, you can clean up after yourself.
Ah, I see. If we compare the children to dogs, that will do it.
Yeah. And Fennec is saying, may we see Miss Puddles? No, and she's not with me at the moment. She runs away when she knows that I'm doing things. She sits at my feet. We didn't really have a good place for her big fluffy pink bed in this office. It is a good deal smaller than the last one. So it's literally just like under my desk at my feet. So she literally stays at my feet while I'm working most days. Oh. Heidi! Chat's begging for the dog.
Chat melts into puddles for puddles.
Puddles. Come here. No, not your ball. I'm not playing with your ball right now. Come. Up. Come on. He's like, I see the lights are on. I see that you're talking to the... Nope, she just noped right the fuck out. See, she knows when I'm on stream. She knows when the microphone's out.
Jesus.
Come on. You want up? Up. Here we go. Come on. I know you can do this. Come on. Come on. There we go. Oh, she's staying low. She knows. She doesn't like you
nope.
guys.
I'm not here for that camera bullshit.
There we go. There's the puddles. There's your puddles. Hello. Who's your good girl?
Aww.
Who's your good girl? Oh, you are wet. You were just outside. That is why Mommy said, I think. You were trying to get on the couch while you're wet.
You know, birds of a feather. I laid down to nap and I tried to call Growlithe up into the bed to nap as well. And it's been storming here. I didn't consider that. So I was like, man, why does it feel like wet paws now? This is gross.
Yeah. That's my girl.
Aw.
Okay, well, that's a good way to end the stream, I guess.
Yeah, end on a positive note.
And on a positive note, are you still streaming after this?
No, I am definitely going to be winding down.
Okay. Is anyone else streaming that I'm following? Jake is streaming. We'll raid Jake. Okay. Good night, everyone. As always, fuck off.